Come get your money. Pay like carp fishing with Donald Barrow.
Hi, good morning. It's Sunday morning and kind of a delayed what's in the bucket. Uh, we won't be fishing today. I've got company in town and it's my mom. Hasn't been here in 10 years, so we're excited. Um, Gonna do a quick one here, but it's an important one. Uh, Chow, and it's winter time in North Carolina, or gonna be winter time. We just rolled back the clocks this weekend, and uh, it's chow chow and more chow. Possibly some bread. Some lakes have banned bread, but the ones who haven't, bread is a viable option. Soybean still is a viable option. But if you want the great equalizer, uh, some people love chow, some people hate chow. It's the guys that hate chow. One, the cost. Chow's expensive. We're throwing oats. We're throwing grits. Grits aren't cheap, but both are a lot cheaper than chow. You can't beat the oats for being cheap, and rice is still pretty cheap. When the weather gets cold in the fall and through the winter into March, it's chow in March, April. And I made a video about syrup chow, how I make my syrup chow, and I'll get into that. The other chow we make is now there's several ways to make chow. I'm not going to say, but for me, that I make chow. Either I make syrup chow or I make egg white chow, and I'll talk a little bit about both real quick, pros and cons, and my thoughts about flavor for winter fishing. That's what we'll call this, winter fishing. Okay, let's talk flavors. I've got my box of flavors, and I was going to get fancy with the camera, but ah, I don't know. We'll get these up on camera here. I just went through my box and I pulled out what I use. Um, it looks like a lot of flavors. Uh, Most of these are grape based, grape, uh, more grape. Uh, Pretty simple. I use a lot of grape. Uh, Grape is, in my opinion, the most versatile flavor for chow. Uh, just rattle them off. What is this? Oh, this is Purple Rain. I'm on my second bottle of that. That worked all right. I used it a lot in the spring. Uh, I didn't have it in the winter, and I went through it pretty quick. This Maximum Concord. This I used just the other day, and I killed with it. Uh, I killed with it. I used this in egg white the other day. I've used it in. Oh, great. Lid wasn't on tight, and now I'm wearing Maximum Crime. I'm not even going fishing, and I'm glad I did my fingers. Uh, Grape pie. It's great. I use it. I used it, and it worked. Uh, White Zombie. This was a hot flavor this spring for me. White Zombie. Um, when I didn't use it, the guy walked up to me and said, "Hey, Donna, like your visit videos," and he had just caught the biggest fish of the night, and he says, "Yeah, White Zombie." I was like, "Great, congratulations." Yeah, it was good. The other two flavors that I use in the wintertime, uh, no surprise, red chocolate is hot. Uh, this red chocolate came out uh, last winter, uh, and I was real impressed. It's got a real strong chocolate flavor to it, and in cold water, as the water gets cold, you want that strong flavor. Uh, Chow is one of those. You either put a drop or no flavor, usually just like a drop or two, or you go heavy flavor. And if you go, this is strong. Butternut's a is like the jack of all flavors. Works in the grape, strawberry, and butternut. work great. I'm not a big strawberry fan in the wintertime. Uh, it's most likely just the lakes I'm fishing aren't strawberry lakes in the wintertime. Uh, Alice, the one over there where I won, that's a strawberry lake. Um, I won with great flavor chow though, so go figure. Uh, but stay, yeah, you'll be safe staying with grape. Yeah, headsets. I'm always concerned about my levels since my early videos really stunk. You know, you couldn't hear me. So I've got a little mixer, and I was listening to my volume. According to the meter, I'm coming in strong, maybe too strong. Don't care. Rather be strong than not being able to be heard. I'll start this off with Chow. Uh, I have some graphics I hope to show. Ziegler Chow and Aquamax Chow are the two types of chows that we use here in North Carolina. Ziegler Chow is, according to the label, the one that I use is 1.5 millimeter. Aquamax 200 is the preferred sinking chow made by Purina, is 1.2 millimeter. With that said, the Ziegler in theory is a teeny little bit bigger. I think it's flatter, and if you ask me, that's about the only difference I see. Um, most recipes, early chow recipes were all for the last 10-year Purina Aquamax 200. Uh, a lot of guys write and tell me there's big difference, big difference. I forget which one I'm using a lot of times. I had a lot of bags of the Aquamax, and then I started getting the Ziegler for a better price. So I bought some bags of Ziegler. One guy said I should mix them. I mixed them one time, I mixed in like a 5 pound bucket. I mixed 50-50. Was it any better or worse? To be honest, I don't think so. I never, like I said, guys tell me there's a difference. I've fooled around with Ziegler for the last year and a half now, and maybe 2 years since it started becoming popular, and I don't see a lot of difference. Uh, I was told it makes better syrup chow. It makes great syrup chow. Uh, is it better? I don't know. Egg white, I'd see a difference, and I'd have to change my formula. I'd forgot somebody told me that, and I made egg white chow the other day. It was great, and I didn't change nothing. So I'll go through it real quick. Uh, hey guys, gonna make some chow. Before I start, I use the sour power chow. What's it called? Sour power chow, and it works. I put in. I got a lot of it because I only use about a cap. I use about a cap into 3 pounds of chow, and I give it a day before I get started. Uh, I'll probably drop this in when I'm done with this video. It can be a couple of days, but for those of you who say they don't like the smell of chow, this doesn't make it any better. It just sours it, but it works. I've done really good at chow, and I don't sweat the details too much. Everybody, chow, like I said, is you love it or hate it. One is expensive. Probably the other thing, and I hear this a lot, is anybody can win when you're using chow because the recipes are so close. If you're on the fish, any way you make chow usually will work. Um, the sour power, in my mind, it gives me an advantage, so I use it. One other thing I use is over here is Floizine. Uh, this is about how much? I want to say that's about 4 ounces. and I'll put in. Fluoresene's expensive. The jury's still out with me. Uh, I'm not sure how much it helps, but I'll throw it in. I got grape for it, fluorescein. I throw it in my chow recipes. So I put some sour power chow. Years ago, we used to use Mad Hatten oil. That was like a secret, you know. Uh, Mad Hatten oil, and you put that in a couple days in advance. And again, it was you're looking for an advantage over what everybody else is doing. Uh, is it an advantage? In my mind, it is. It works sometimes. Sometimes you still have a bad day, and your fluorescein and your sour power and all your smart flavors, they don't pay off. Then other times you're in the spot and you're catching double the fish everybody else on the lake is, and you're winning all the spots, and it's like I'm a genius. Nah, wintertime carp fishing can go that way, guys, and probably the biggest difference. You usually don't catch as much fish in the wintertime, and I say usually. There's days where you're on the spot, and it's as good as it gets. Uh, but I'll tell you, that spot can be a narrow spot, and you can be fishing next to the guy that is cleaning up, winning all the spots, catching all the fish, and you're not in the spot, even using the same bait. Uh, you can even see the guy who's cleaning up. Half his rods they're zipping off, and the other ones haven't caught a fish all day. Uh, that's how tight it can be, and you're the best carp fisherman in the world. But if you're not in the spot on a cold day, it's a tough road to hoe. Uh, Back to chow. Chow. Uh, People will tell you, oh, syrup chow's better. Oh, egg white chow. Oh, mix it with corn. Mix it with Mountain Dew. Mix it. Do this. It all works. If you throw any one of those balls into my tank, my fish tank, and it breaks down and it becomes chow. It becomes a little black pile on the bottom of the fish tank. The sour power, in my mind, yes, give it something different, because that's what's on the bottom of the lake is little black piles of chow, and at that point it's your pickup and it's any flavor. Now a lot of these flavors, cloud flavors, and these like I call them bleeding type flavors. I put them in there and they do bleed up. Uh, that could be your advantage. I've had a pretty good year, especially catching big fish. Uh, uh, when others aren't catching them. So I think some of these flavors, uh, obviously, I fish for Wicket, and so I'm using Wicket flavors. I've used other flavors before Wicket. I've used them all. I think I showed a video one time. I had 20, 30 different bottles of every flavor, and that was my thing, was to buy. If I saw a brand, I would buy it. Um, I don't think it's necessary if you went with a Wicked or whatever brand you go with, just to find, you can use the flavor of the week, or you can just stay with what you know, and both ways are really legit. Uh, Off topic, back to chow. I start with sour power about a day before, 2 days. I got this bag of chow. Since I got the sour power in front of me, I'm going to throw it in. I'll throw a cap in here and mix it. And I don't know when I'm going to mix this. 3 pounds is usually what you buy at the lake. 7 cups is close. It's not quite 3 pounds. I think it's 2.5 or 2.25. And 7 cups is what I use. It's a Fish Fighter's recipe. Into 7 cups of chow. Into I just use a 3-gallon bucket, and I'll throw in some fluorescein, uh, and I'll throw 1 cup 1 cup of egg white on top of it, about an hour to 30 minutes before I'm going to fish. And then I mix 7 caps of flavor, but I think I told you before, it really depends on the flavor. If you're using the same flavor, you can dial it in. If not, I usually go 4 to 7. 7 is probably the top. Wintertime, sometimes less is more. There are guys that don't use any flavor. Uh, I like to use at least 1 cap of something. Uh, I don't like to overpower it, so usually around 4 to 5, maybe 7, but seldom. Depends how much I'm dribbling in there. But it's going to cake up. Uh, you're going to open the bucket up 30 minutes to an hour later, and it'll be solid brick of chow. So then you break it up with your hand, and then you're like, oh, great, I'm back to square zero. And then you wet it again, just with little drops of egg white, just little splashes. You can even use water to get it damp, and then it packs like a dream. And you just do that. You got to be careful not to over wet it. Excuse me. If you over wet it, you got to be careful not to over wet it. If you over wet it, Wheat Bran is your friend. They sell it at Lake, so you can get it at a feed store. Wheat Bran, I buy a lot of it. It lasts forever. It's not cheap. Sorry, it is cheap. So watch, next week it'll be real expensive. But Wheat Bran is your friend. Throw in a handful. If you over wet it, and then you over wet, and you're like, well, what's the big deal there? But then you pack it, and it's overpacked, and then it doesn't break. So then you mix in the Wheat Bran, and it'll break again. Quick grits will also do the job. I just prefer Wheat Bran. Soybean will also do the job too, in a pinch. So soybean, quick grits. That'll fix your issue. Syrup chow, I've made it several times. I'll take 3 pounds instead of 7 cups of chow, and I put the sour power in there, and I'll take 15 ounce. Oh, I'll take 1 cup of flour, all-purpose flour, 1 cup. Mix it. It turns the chow like a gray white color. Mix it. Make sure your whole bag, there's not any spot that doesn't have that flour incorporated into the chow. And that's what helps it stick. Then you mix in 15 ounces of Carol syrup. I put it into a mixing bowl, and then I'll put in 1 ounce of whatever flavor I'm going with. Gives me 16 ounces of liquid. I pour it over the chow and mix like crazy. I'll use a glove usually, and really mix it. At first you pour it on there and you don't think you have enough, but then you start mixing, and that little syrup goes a long ways, and into the 3 pounds, and then it's just one wet gooey mess. And then you snap the lid on, and there you can make choices. I like to turn the bucket even sideways and like get more air to the bucket. I'll even use a bigger bucket when I'm making syrup chows. I'll use a 4 pounder. You can even use a 5 pound bucket. Just, the quickest way to get it ready is to roll it out on wax paper. You just put it on wax paper and flatten it like you're rolling it out. And even you can put a fan on it, and it can be ready to throw in a couple hours. Now let's just let's talk what chow is better. All chow is good. No chow is bad. I use syrup chow because it can be made in advance. I know it's ready to go, and probably the biggest advantage with syrup chow is if I don't use it, you just put, it's forever, so to speak. So you just zip it back up in the bucket or put it in a bag. I like to put it in a bag after I've made it. Um, and it's good to go the next week or the next week. You don't waste any of it. When you make egg white chow, it's kind of a 1 day deal. Can you bring it back? Not really. To be frank, I don't throw anything away. I'll throw it into the bucket of beans, and yeah, when I'm done with it. But when you just need pure chow, you kind of decide I'm going to go with egg white the day of, and you make almost 3 pounds of egg white chow and throw it with the syrup chow. Oh, and you pick the flavor. You're usually not making 2 buckets of egg white chow. It is something that you need once you start wetting it. You need to stay up with it. You need to keep that lid tight in between, and just pay attention to what you're doing with it all day. And when I say pay attention, you don't want it to dry out so dry, and then keep trying to bring it back with egg white. It's kind of it's always better if you get it to pack right. That way you just only put a little bit on egg white on it every time you're packing, and it'll get to a point. Sometimes it gets to a point where it's just perfect and it stays perfect for a couple hours. You don't have to do nothing with it. But then, like I said, at the end of the night, if you have anything left, you're throwing it out, or you're mix it in something else, and it becomes a mix. But syrup chow, you just zip it up and use it the next week. And because of that flexibility, I use syrup chow. I usually have 2 or 3 flavors. I'll have chocolate and I'll have grape, you know, and maybe a combination of grape and butternut, or just pure butternut. But I'll have a couple of flavors, and I don't worry about mixing and anything else. I'm ready to. If I don't use it, like I said, it goes home with me, and I'll use it the next week. Both are, for me, both work pretty close to the same. It's convenient if it's a quick trip, and you haven't made any plans, but all of a sudden you go into a lake to just grab the 7 cups out and get to the lake and throw in the egg white, and you're cooking with gas in 30 minutes. You're ready to go. The other convenience of syrup chow is you just go to the lake and you reach into your bucket from last week and grab out the bag of syrup chow and pack it around. It's ready to go. If syrup chow gets too hard, I take the bag over to the shop, and usually they all have microwaves, and 30 seconds into the microwave, you're good to go. It's like brand new. So one way or the other. That's my chow. Again, I don't think there's a favorite. When you win with one of them, and I've won with both, but when you win with egg white, then egg white is the best chow, and the same for syrup chow. When you win with syrup chow, it's the best chow. I don't think there's one better than the other. It's just what you prefer, what you're used to. I guess I find pretty good advantages with both. If I didn't say it, I think I like the Ziegler chow better because it's cheaper. It's the only reason I like Ziegler chow better. They both work the same for me. That's winter chow. That's what we do here. Like and subscribe, please. I'm real close. If you haven't subscribed, I'd appreciate it if you would. But again, thank you for watching. Next week we're back at it. I know.
I hope you enjoyed my video. Please like and subscribe. And thank you. Appreciate it.